VT selection, loadout configuration, and pre-sortie room. In this final section of the tutorial, I'm going to cover in-game VT selection, loadout configuration, and give a weapons overview. I'm also going to go over the unlock code entry procedure, and finally close with credits, thanks, and a list of valuable online references for further reading if you are so inclined. VT selection. After room host has started a game session, the first screen you are presented with is the VT selection screen. The initial screen allows you to see the VT and loadout selections of both yourself and your teammates. There are a number of important pieces of information presented here for your own VT selection. The bottom right panel of the page shows the sortie information, some of which is confusing due to the carryover of campaign elements to the remaining free mission mode. The quantity display is shown as QTY. In campaign mode, this number signifies the number of available VTs of the selected model that you owned in your hangar. Since there is no hangar limitation in free mission, the number is always 99. The sortie cost section shows the sortie cost setting of the session as set by the room host and what your current VT selection would cost if you were to bring in all of your available sorties. The VT count field shows the number of selected and maximum possible number of sorties for a selected VT. This number can be changed using up-down on the D-pad of a standard Xbox controller or up-down via the thumb-hat control on the left stick of the Steel Battalion controller. Be sure to not accidentally change this setting when scrolling through the VT selections. At the very bottom of the screen, the VT name, class, and generation are shown. This information, along with the cost value, are very important when playing with specific VT and point setting limitations. For example, if the session host calls for a rule of 40 points and under, this means that you may only select VTs that have a sortie cost of 40 or below. So to be sure to confirm the point value of your VT that you want to choose before confirming your selection. You can scroll through VTs available to you by using the left-right on the D-pad of a standard Xbox controller, or the left-right via the thumb-hat control on the left stick of a Steel Battalion controller. As you change VTs, the values for cost and VT count will change to take into account the sortie cost setting of the session. After selecting a VT, the next screen that is presented is the weapons configuration screen. The initial weapons configuration screen presents 4 options. The first 3 are preset loadouts that you have either configured previously or are game defaults if you had not customized them. The 4th option at the bottom, Custom, can be selected to allow you to perform a custom weapons loadout for the current session if the 3 preset options are inappropriate. I personally always use the Custom option as I tend to make minor changes to a VT loadout depending on the map and expected opposition. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'll discuss the Custom option in more detail. After selecting Custom, a visual representation of the VT is shown on the screen. To the left, the weapon location slots are shown, 3 for the main weapons and 3 for the sub-weapons. To change a weapon selection, use the D-pad and the A and B buttons on a standard Xbox controller, or the left hat stick, main weapon, and lock-on buttons of the Steel Battalion controller. Scrolling left or right with a weapon slot selected will choose other weapons. Confirming a selection will lock the slot and allow you to scroll up or down to another weapon slot to make an alternate selection. With a few notable exceptions, every weapon in line of contact has a corresponding mount weight, which contributes to an overall total loadout weight for a VT. More powerful weapons tend to have a greater weight. VTs have both a standard and maximum weight capacity rating. The standard weight setting indicates the loadout weight at which a VT will perform to its specifications. Exceeding this weight rating will make the VT over standard, signified on the display as STD OVR. When a VT is fielded with a loadout that is standard over, the VT will perform below its standard operating capacity. It will turn slower, accelerate slower, and be much more prone to tipping over. Exceeding the maximum weight capacity will result in a VT loadout which cannot be saved or fielded. This is displayed as max OVR. In addition to weaponry loadout, all VTs can mount at least one additional fuel tank depending on the VT type. Fuel tanks weigh 2 units and contribute to the overall loadout weight of the VT. It should be noted that some weapons are permanently mounted to certain VT types and cannot be unselected. These weapons do not count towards the total VT weight rating. The interface will indicate fixed mount weapons with the icon shown. Certain sub-weapons require specific shoulder mount points on VTs. Due to this, only 2 of these type sub-weapons can be mounted on a VT at any one time. Attempting to mount a third weapon of this type will result in an error message of Mount OVR, and the configuration cannot be saved or fielded. All fixed mount sub-weapons are also shoulder mounted, so for VTs that have a fixed mount sub-weapon, only one additional shoulder mount weapon may be selected. After completing a weapon loadout selection, select Complete at the bottom of the screen. You will be taken to the final page of the pre-sorting process where you can preview the map and discuss strategy with your teammates. Although no one weapon loadout will work for every VT all of the time, certain weapons are certainly more effective than others. If in doubt, ask your teammates for advice in selecting your weapon loadout before you choose Complete or select one of the 3 preset loadouts.